Hello, I'm Nenette, and my company is Nenette Chocolates.
We're in your house, but we're not, in as much as you have the best, I don't know what you call, workshop, I suppose. Chocolate studio. It looks out over a beautiful garden,
Yes.
Just on the edge of the village. This is literally, we walk through your kitchen straight into here. The commute is about 15 feet.
Yes, absolutely. Yep, I've worked far harder commutes than this, it has to be said.
And now we're in this incredible studio. So talk me through. We've come here to make your signature, which is essentially a kind of an Easter egg, but not.
That's absolutely right. So what we are doing today is making what I call a smashable. So as you say, think Easter egg, but it's round. So it's a milk chocolate shell, and it contains sweeties. So the idea is that when you get given this thing, once you've worked out what to do with it, effectively you get your weapon of choice, somebody's head, a hammer, whatever, and you smash it, and your sweets and your chocolates will go everywhere. So the next thing is to beat everybody else in the scramble to get your bits of chocolate and your sweets.
I love it. I can just see Christmas morning already, just as people chase the chocolate around the place. So look, this is a really busy time of year for you. A lot of what you do is going, mail order and so on. We'll talk about that in a bit. What sort of pace are you working up to Christmas?
You've missed the horrendous bit, because I'm starting on the downward curve towards Christmas, where most people have done their shopping, hopefully, by now. So a few weeks ago, you'd have seen me in 3 successive weekends trading up at Haddon Hall in Bakewell, which is a magical location for a Christmas fair. So I would be meeting customers every day, selling them chocolates and helping them to taste the chocolate so they understand what I do and why it's different. So that's a major thing of what I do at this time of year. I'd be going out there and trading on streets, in big houses, village halls, things like that. I also talk to the WI and demonstrate to them, and they get to see what to get up to as well, which is brilliant fun. I sell online, as you have said. I also sell to local shops and delicatessens as well. So there's lots of different prongs of my business and different ways you can get hold of my chocolate.
What I love is that you're actually a chartered accountant.
Yes.
That's what you are trained as. But you've followed a bit of a passion here, haven't you? And you haven't done that for quite a long time. This is what you do now. You're a chocolatier.
Yes, absolutely. Chocolatier. Much more exciting than adding up figures for other people.
Talking about figures, we've got 2 bags of amazing looking chocolate here. What are we going to do with them? So
we've already been eating them, haven't we, Ben?
Yes. You've let on. Hang on a minute. That was a secret.
Sorry. So what we will be doing is tempering the chocolate, and I can explain what that is and why it's important. And we will be using that tempered chocolate to create these hollow shapes. So they're both semicircular round shapes. And we will be creating 2 shells, which will then be stuck together after we have put the sweeties inside.
Can we do it?
Yeah.
Okay, tempering, what does that mean? Should we do it? Let's
Yes.
talk about it as we do it.
Okay, so it will involve a microwave, so I've started it before you got here.
That's a lot of chocolate.
Isn't it? You've probably got about a kilogram in there, something like that. So this has been in the microwave for a couple of 1-minute spurts of time. And each time that happens, I'll bring it out and stir it through. So the idea is you get rid of any hot spots, because it's so easy to burn chocolate in the microwave. So I'm just going to put it back in for a minute.
How long do you spend in here every day? And do you eat chocolate all day?
I do eat chocolate.
Do you?
I try not to eat chocolate all day. There are times, some days are better than others, I think. But it depends where you are in the year as to how much time I spend in here. So in the run up to Christmas, say from the beginning of October onwards, I'm probably in here making 3 or 4 days a week.
Right.
It then takes a day and a half, always a lot longer than I expect, to do the packaging.
Yes.
So boxing things up, putting things away, labelling them, and you've got to be so careful with the labelling for trading standards, etc. And then 2 days a week, I'm out there trading. That's what I do from the beginning of October through to Christmas. So yes, that's my life from October through to Christmas, and then a bit again of the same kind of thing, probably beginning of March through to Easter.
Which must be Easter surely is busier than Christmas, isn't it?
Christmas is my biggest
Is it
peak.
really still?
Easter is a good peak, but not quite as big as Christmas. It's interesting.
My kids have always said that they love Easter because it's the one day of the year they're allowed chocolate for breakfast.
There's always chocolate in this house. So what I'm doing now is melting the chocolate. So chocolate fully melts at about 45 degrees. And you can still see in amongst this molten bowl here, there are quite a lot of lumps and bumps still in there. If I get that bit of kit from over there.
Yeah.
This is my temperature gun. So what this does is just reads the surface temperature of the chocolate. So it's saying that is about 31 degrees. So it's still not warm enough yet. So
I could bury my face in there.
you could. I'd just walk out of the room, I think, then.
I think it's amazing. Where do you get the ideas from? Because Smashable, I know, is a real signature of yours, isn't it?
It's conversations you have with people, with customers, the odd snippets. So the hot chocolate bombs I have over there are a smaller version, which is... The Smashables are about 12 centimetres in diameter. The hot chocolate bombs, same idea. They're a sphere of chocolate, and they're probably about 4 centimetres in diameter, something like that. The idea I had for the chocolate bombs was I was making chocolate baubles one day, and I had them hanging from a tree on a display. Yes. And somebody said, "Oh, have they got marshmallows inside?" And I thought, "Oh, I've missed that trick, haven't I?" So based on that, the following year, I then put marshmallows inside, and all of a sudden they became hot chocolate bombs.
So you pour hot milk on them,
Yes.
it dissolves the chocolate,
Yes.
the marshmallows float to the top.
Yes.
That's genius.
Isn't it? It's good fun as well, bit of theatre in the mug for you. The temperature gauge is telling me it's 36 degrees. I'm actually going to work with it like that, rather than taking it up to the 45 and bringing it down from there. So,
because it looks quite happy with that, doesn't it?
It does, yes. But I just said something there which you probably thought, what does she mean by that, bringing it down from there? Tempering is about melting the chocolate and bringing it down to a working temperature quickly. So the melted chocolate, 36 degrees like this, I'm going to bring the temperature down simply by adding more chocolate buttons. This is the seeding method. These buttons are seeds. And if you bring your microphone down there, give a bit of sound effect of the seeds going in. Isn't that nice? Absolutely. And I simply stir those through. So what I'm doing is using the heat of the already melted pool of chocolate to melt those newly introduced buttons or seeds of chocolate. And as I'm stirring them through, that will happen as I agitate the chocolate, and that process will also naturally then cool the whole bowl. So this will happen fairly quickly, but this is probably the only exercise I get as a chocolatier, is stirring my bowl of chocolate like
You can
this.
actually see it changing as presumably as the temperature drops, it's becoming more viscous.
Yes, absolutely. So you can actually see that, can't you? Yeah. So that's about 31.9, 32. So I think we're ready to go with that.
Wow, okay. Talk me through what we're going to do now then.
So what we are going to be doing is effectively lining these moulds that I have decorated with coloured cocoa butter and a shimmery powder as well with the chocolate that I've just tempered. So
they look sort of metallic, don't they? Shimmery, metallic.
Yes.
Lovely.
It's an edible powder, effectively, that you brush into there over the cocoa butter. So literally all we're doing is pouring the chocolate into
You do that so... That's perfect.
I've done it a few times, you see. Sometimes you overfill it and it goes all over the floor, It's just part of the fun, isn't it? I'm just going to wipe this really futile exercise of trying to tidy up the bowl, because in a minute I'm going to make such a mess it's untrue. Chocolate is always, when it's tempered, fighting to set. So I need to work with it quite quickly. So we've now got chocolate sitting in these moulds, and it will contain naturally air bubbles, which I don't want sitting on the bottom of the shape, because that represents holes when it's set. So this is the noisy bit. So I'm just going to tap this mould against the top of the table to get rid of the air bubbles. You can see it's now flopping over the edge of the mould as well, because I overfilled it. There we go.
We were starting before we started to record. Actually, you made the point that chocolate is odd in as much as we have enjoyed it in one form or another for thousands of years. It's only quite recently that we started chucking sugar and milk into it.
Absolutely, yes. The first time that happened really was in the 1600s, when the Spanish discovered the areas of the territories where the Mayans and the Aztecs were in their days 7,000 years ago, when they were trying to discover their territories for empires of their own, for the Spanish. They discovered cocoa, and at that stage it was important not only culturally because of the rituals that cocoa was used for with the gods, but also because it was a currency. So the Aztecs conquered the Mayans. The Aztecs couldn't grow cocoa where they were, and they required the Mayans to pay taxes in the form of cocoa beans. So all of a sudden it acquired monetary value. So yes, culturally, economically important, and also really good to taste as well.
I love it. I really do. It's amazing. I love the fact that you followed a passion to create a business. I mean, it's been, we mentioned this at the beginning, that there have been challenges this year, haven't there, about getting things delivered? Because you're predominantly, I know you go to fairs, but I would imagine predominantly you're an online business, aren't you?
I'd like to hope so. Yes. But yes, a lot of what I do, people can look at my website for and order online for my chocolates. And where you've got Royal Mail on strike, it just makes getting things to people harder. So you have to be more inventive. So you have to go out and find couriers, or people can come and collect from me as well. So I get a lot of people just coming and placing an order and then coming and collecting from the front door, which is lovely because I get to meet them as well.
So you kind of had to find ways around it to continue to do business. So
you really promote, therefore, when you're out and about doing shows and fairs for people who are in that location, if they want their chocolates, the easiest thing for them to do is to come and find me.
So we've just got to, one thing I hadn't asked you is what you put in these. So we've got Haribo gummies.
Star Mix.
Can I just try them?
Yeah, you need to make sure it tastes all right, don't you?
That's all right.
This is my Smarties.
So Smarties and Haribo, and that's what you fill the mould with.
Yes, so I'm just going to tip.
They're so beautiful.
Thank you, that's very kind. So I'm just tipping, we've taken these chocolate shells out of the mould now, so they are set, and they happily, because we've got it right, they've got the pattern that we decorated the mould with that's now adhered to the chocolate itself. So I'm just going to tip some sweeties inside. There we go. So we've now got one half of the mould, one half the sphere with sweets in it, and the other one is sitting upside down on the table looking beautiful. And what we want to do is now glue them together so we've got a big ball. So I've got chocolate scraper, which is a metal blade here. I'm just going to heat that with my hot air gun. So it might take a little while to heat it through. So bear with us. And then we just get the one half and put it on the hot metal. You could also put a baking sheet in an oven, for example, and just warm that through. So you've just melted edge there of one half of your sphere, which you then clamp on to the other half and just leave that to set for a few minutes. It won't take long. And there you are, you have your Smashable.
If somebody would like to learn more, find your website and so on, how do they find you online?
So my website is nenettechocolates.co.uk.